It's Saturday night and I'm just pouring myself a nice cold one. And then I'm going to answer a few of these questions that people keep asking me. And I think that if somebody takes time to ask a question, it needs to be answered. So that's what I'm going to do. We've certainly had a mixture of opinions since we started this channel. And of course, everybody is entitled to their opinion. One thing that does keep coming up more than often is, are we happy where we are now? Are we settled? I think that 5 weeks or so is a little bit too quick to know that you're fully settled. But are we happy is a different question. One of the questions that I've been asked is, would you have seen yourself where you are right now 5 years ago when we lived in a regular house? And the answer to that question is definitely no. We're only here because we was evicted from his property due to the landlord deciding to sell. We looked into other private housing, too expensive. We looked at the council, no help at all. So when this came up, I just bought it. And we have only been here for a few weeks, but already we're seeing a difference when it comes to bills. The house we lived in originally was costing us £700 a month. This one is costing around £300, and it's a good sized place and I'm perfectly happy with that. We're not living on a main road, which is what we used to. That's the part on the previous videos that nobody saw. They just saw the back garden and the greenhouses. But the fact of the matter is we lived on a main road and it was constantly noisy, to a point where you couldn't sleep in the front bedroom or live in the front living room. So we had to live at the back of the house and it was still too noisy. The rent wasn't cheap, and over a couple of years it increased by a further £200. So when it came to the point where the landlord decided he had to sell because it wasn't feasible anymore for him to rent, the only way we could have stayed at that property was to be paying over £900 a month, which I definitely was not going to do, to live in just a normal house on a very noisy street. And it didn't even have a driveway or anything like that. So he was constantly battling as to where you're going to park, sometimes 12 doors down the road. So no, I don't miss that aspect of it. But moving into this place, we ain't got a problem with parking because we've got our own parking area. We're paying a lot less out every single month because, as I've just mentioned, the site fees or rent on this property work out to about £300 a month at the side of £700. This is not classed as a residential site, so we have to vacate now and again. But you can do that by getting a care of address and go and stay with friends. Then you can get your mail and you can spend a couple of days there as a lodger and then you can come back. That's the way that works. But we don't mind going into a B&B for a night or two, travelling somewhere different to where we are, to taking different sites and only paying a small amount of money compared to what we saved in that initial rent. So because of that reason, you also don't pay council tax. So that is another big saving. The site fees include your water rates, so you've saved something else. We don't pay for a TV licence because it's not a residential site, so that's another saving on top. The van doors and windows at the moment are constantly open because these places get so warm, so we're not using any type of heating at the moment. We've got an electric blanket on that bed, but so far we've not needed to use it. I know that is going to change once we get to winter and things will be a bit different, but that will be for another video. We'll see how we manage when we get to that, if we even stay here over winter, because that's not fully decided at the moment. We're only a few miles from coast, and when you're living in a town or a city, that's something you haven't got the luxury of, to just drive for a short distance and stand on a beach, and that is something special. You've got no more long commutes on certain days, and you've got the entire Lincolnshire coast to explore. Everybody in this area are very friendly. The site owners are nice, friendly people. They're not like your big commercial sites. I've heard 1 or 2 stories about people that have got vans and they've not got all the money to pay for things like the electric bill when it came. So they've just let them pay by instalments just to help them out. They've done it with other people when it came to site fees. So a really nice bunch of people. So it depends where you are really. If you go to the big commercial sites, they can be quite cutthroat. They'll increase your site fees on an annual basis by sometimes £1,000. They don't do that here. I can walk around this place and see friendly faces every single day, which is a great thing. People come and go all the time according to site regulations. We're just getting to the point now where it's starting to get a bit busier. We can see families coming down, getting the van set up because they've come down for their summer break. And I think that's brilliant because you get to meet new people as well. And I haven't met a nasty person yet. And where I used to live, that wasn't very difficult at all. We was also working as well when we was at the old place. Jin was working for the NHS as a doctor's receptionist and pretty much hated it. Even though it's not actually your fault, there's no appointments. Sometimes people don't seem to care, so they'll just take it out on the person stood in front. And it would get her down quite a lot, to the point where she hated the job she was doing. And now she's found a job that she actually loves doing. And it's part-time. I was also doing work on and off, and I did quite a lot of work at places like Domino's, delivering. And that job is mainly driving at night, which I hate. So although I did that for a while and also managed one of the shops, it doesn't pay a lot of money and it's not a very rewarding career either. So I decided to start doing this. And I've now moved from doing this to part-time to doing it full-time. And we're still able to manage on the money that we get due to all the savings we've made from being here. And I can't say what it's going to be like in winter, as I've just mentioned. It may be twice the price, 3 times the price, but we don't know any of that yet. We haven't even been here long enough yet to get his first electric bill. We bought a gas canister for £85 and we use it as cautiously as possible. And it still feels pretty full. You just give them a shake and you can tell how much is left in that. So that side of things seems okay. We're basically at that age now where we don't want the hassle. We don't want the 9 to 5, the grindstone. We want to be able to do something that suits us. And I know that won't suit everyone, and that's not why I make these videos. I just give out information based on what I know at this particular site. And we know all over the country it's going to be different, but this is our story, basically. And in answer to the original question, are you happy where you are? I'm actually more than happy being where I am right now. It was an horrible situation to have to go through, but it's brought us to this place where we're a lot more relaxed. It's a nicer area. We're working less, but we're still saving money. And surely that alone has got to be a win-win. Everybody's battling with the cost of living and the energy crisis. That's going to keep fluctuating, I'm pretty sure, for a year or more. But at the moment, we seem to be coping with that. And we just want to make this as own place, regardless of how much time we spend in it, because there is going to be time away and then time coming back. But for the moment, if somebody asked me if the clock was rewound 5 weeks or so and the landlord said, I've changed my mind, do you want to stay here? The answer to that, knowing what I know now, would be no. I don't want to spend the next few years paying out extortionate amounts of money just because it says on a piece of paper that's what you need to pay. I'm now more in control of everything than I ever were. It's up to me how much of that gas I use, how careful I am with that electricity, what I decide to pay on this site or any other site that I go to. I get to pick and choose. There's not set bills that stand in my way like there is in a normal environment. So if that question did arise at any time, I would definitely be saying, no thank you, I'm perfectly happy where I am, in a nicer environment, enjoying things a lot more than I ever have done, while paying less. And I hope that answers a few people's questions. Sometimes you don't choose something, it chooses you. And this particular situation is fine by me, at least for now, because somebody has asked me, wouldn't I be better off living on a boat? We'll look into that in a different video. But for now, once again, thank you so much for being part of the channel. And if you're interested in seeing anything else that we do in the future, please hit that subscribe button, press that notifications bell, and I'll see you on the next update. You all take care and have a nice weekend.